are going to discuss tonight something that's, I think, a real issue on board and working on board, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but your exit strategy and what you do after yachting. So what are your career options? What is that transitional period like? So Kelly used to work on the yachts, and now she's created a wonderful business for herself that she'll tell us about a bit later. But yeah, it'd just be good to get some insights from you, Kelly, to find out what that was like for you, that journey. And I think first up, I think the good place to start would be to ask you, did you have an exit strategy when you were working on board? What were your thoughts about leaving the industry and your career plans thereafter?
Sorry, Corinne, can you just repeat that last bit? It broke up a little bit.
Okay, so my question to you is, did you have an exit strategy when you were working on board? And yeah, just that period between, just a few months between leaving and then actually leaving the yachts, and what that was like for you.
Okay, well, to be honest, I wanted to leave probably for the good last few years of my yachting career. I felt pretty stuck, and every time I wanted to leave, it was just, well, where do you go? I mean, I'd been on boats. I think it was 12 years overseas and then a couple of years over here. So I still didn't leave it when I moved to Australia, but yeah, I just found it really difficult because you're just constantly weighing up your options, and it's hard to think about what you'd like to do when you're living in that bubble as well. As great as it is while you're doing it, it's hard to look beyond that and see what else is out there and what other opportunities there are. So I just found myself getting caught in the same cycle of wanting to leave, but then feeling a little bit like, I don't know, I didn't have the courage to go and figure it out, because that means obviously leaving your home, leaving your second family, leaving your income, leaving all the perks that go with yachting. But when you know it's not right for you, it's it's tricky to get out. But my strategy, I guess my strategy was to just book a one-way flight one night when I was really tired after a long charter, and just booked it, and booked into a course as well, because I knew I needed a certificate. I was loving the chefing role on the boat, and that's given me so many skills for what I'm doing now. But yeah, I just knew I needed a certificate, so I booked straight into Cordon Bleu and jumped on the plane, and that was it, really, after all those years. Mind you, like I said, I still did a little bit of temping in Australia to keep the money up while I was a student on other jobs over here. So yeah, very hard to leave.
Yeah, so were you thinking about leaving quite a few times?
Oh, I would say for the last 2 or 3 years before I moved back to Australia, definitely. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
What was the pain factor for you? Like, what prompted you to book that flight and leave?
To be honest, I was probably pretty down and just at a point, just helplessness. And looking back, I could have done with counselling for sure. Just, because it's just, no one understands what you do on super yachts when you move back to land. Maybe they have a bit more of an idea now, but this is 7 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago, and it's just, you can't explain what's required of you when you're working on the yacht. So yeah, I was definitely feeling it for a couple of years for sure, 2 or 3 years. And I think the final thing was, just I can't do one more charter. I can't do one more guest trip.
So it sounds like you were quite burnt out at the same time.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So that transitional period for you, you said you were doing some temp work on the yachts in Australia. So what was that experience like for you, being back on land after being at sea for so long, and I guess your career pathway? What sort of jobs were you going for, as well as doing the yachting?
Well, I was really trying. I went to Cordon Bleu and did my course to get my certificate, and through that, it gave me a platform to volunteer on a MasterChef live show. And I wanted to get into food media. I wanted to work in food television, and from that, I got a job at MKR, My Kitchen Rules, and then I went on to do other shows, MasterChef, Better Homes and Gardens, lots of shows over the years. But the first couple of years, I was certainly, because I started from the bottom of the ladder in food media, as you have to, and I still needed a bit of income, and I didn't really want to earn peanuts in a restaurant. So actually the yachting was really easy to pick up because there's not many qualifications. Well, at that time, there weren't many people that had the experience that I had. So working on the super yachts in a temp way was actually really easy. And but I was dragging my heels. Definitely, I was dragging my heels to those jobs because I was still so done with it and burnt out. But it gave me the opportunity to earn a lot of money quickly while I was trying to climb my way up the ladder in food media.
And I guess that's key, is to when you're thinking about your exit strategy, to look at the skills that you've acquired through yachting and how you can channel that into something that maybe is not quite fitting for you, what you want to do longer term, but can just carry you through until you get to that particular career pathway that you're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, being on the super yachts, it's very similar to working in television. So I adapted really well in that industry because you're always around a crew. You travel a lot together, working crazy hours. Sometimes the owners are a little bit like the network execs. It's very similar in many ways. So I adapted really well. I think for me, going into that industry was definitely a bonus, and using my skills from living on board for so many years and having to think on the spot as well, and to be flexible and knowing that things are going to change all the time. It's not a problem when you've done it for years. And that's such a big thing in television as well. It's exactly the same. Things change all the time. You just got to roll with it. So, yeah.
That's great. Good advice. So now I'm thinking about emotionally, what was that like for you, that adjustment period?
It was really hard because
you were saying the crew was like, in a way, it's your family, it's your second family. So
definitely, and it's also, you live such a wonderful life on the super yachts. You're going to all these amazing restaurants. You're spending ridiculous money on a weekend away. You just have so much fun, and then I don't know, to come back here and to be a broke student. And again, no one understands the super yacht life. And I don't know, it really messed with my head. It really did. That, and also not understanding my country very well after being away for, 12 years or whatever. I didn't, it was just such a challenging headspace for me. And I'll be honest, I was pretty low for a good couple of years when I got back. It's just an unusual situation. It's almost like, I don't know, coming out of prison or something. You're institutionalized. So adjusting to the outside world is also a big deal, and let alone trying to find where you fit in the workforce. All of that. Yeah.
So what sort of support did you reach out for? Any support at the time?
I remember going to see one or two psychologists, but they just didn't get it.
No, that's the thing, and that's what a lot of people struggle with, is actually understanding the environment that you work in. And for myself, like working in prisons the past 5 years, and there's a support network that you can call on called EAPS, which is an employment assistance program, and it's like, I can't connect with them, and I don't want to talk to them because you've got no idea what it's like working in a maximum security jail and seeing violence and the poor treatment of, it's just, it's shocking. And I can understand how that would be difficult, is not people not getting where you're coming from.
Yeah, they just,
it's
all the world.
It's sort of,
totally as well.
Yeah.
They just don't get it. They just don't understand the world that you're in. Yeah.
Okay, so on to something more positive. Your business. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
And that's not to say my experience in super yachts wasn't positive, because I loved it, and it's helped me in so many ways with what I've done in my career and now in my business as well. Okay. So I opened up a deli and a cooking school 4 months ago. I'm living in a tiny fishing town now in the country, and after being in the city between Melbourne and Sydney for 8 years, I ended up in this part of the world through a show called River Cottage Australia, which brought me to the country, and then that ran for about 1.5 years, and I set their cooking school up that was affiliated with the show. and then we got the axe. And then after that, I decided to stay, and all the crew went their separate ways, and I decided to stay. I just loved it so much. And set this business up 4 months ago, and I'm actually launching my cooking lessons tonight. And it's really exciting, actually, because I've been able to call on some lovely, wonderful contacts that I've made through television, and still using super yacht skills every day. It's just so challenging running a hospitality business for the first time as well. But all those skills you get from the yachts, thinking on your feet, being flexible, running out of stuff. Okay, what are we going to put instead of that? It's not like sticking to a restaurant menu. It's, so different. And I've purposely built an open kitchen, so it's great because I can have a chat. It's like the Cheers bar.
Yeah.
Have a chat with everyone when they come in. It's really good. It's good fun.
Fantastic. So if you have your words of wisdom to crew out there who are thinking about leaving the industry and a bit fearful on what to do next and what that's going to look like for them, what would you tell them?
I would say use your breaks to do a lot of research online about what you might have an interest in. I'd say get some counselling for sure. 100%. That would be a huge help. And be financially prepared as well.
Investments.
Yeah, exactly. Investments, whatever you need to, because you've really got to allow yourself. I mean, everyone's different, but you've got to allow yourself 6 to 12 months to settle back in. So, and in that time, you're in the bubble the whole time before you leave. You might be wanting to research, I don't know, jobs, business, courses, whatever it is. You've just got to give yourself, because that financial pressure is also really tough to deal with as well, because you're so used to being on the boats where make it rain constantly. So, it's a different headspace. All of a sudden you're paying taxes and you have to be a responsible adult. And it's just, it's got so many challenges. The financial pressure is definitely a big one. So be prepared in that way as well. But counselling a big one for sure.
Yep. Amazing. Thanks so much, Katie, for your time. So good.
That's all right.
I want to hear all about it and how it goes.
Well, you'll have to come and visit.
I'd love to.
Yeah, anytime.